Yo, welcome back in, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about something very, very important, and it's going to really sharpen your skills in the market. Especially if you're leaving behind the overcomplicating, the trying to use 50 different concepts and prioritizing sounding smart over, what actually translates into making consistent profits, like obviously you see here today. So throughout all these videos that I'm giving you guys, you're going to notice that a lot of them are based on real trades that I've taken live time the very same day that I'm teaching it here. And that's how I like to teach, okay? I like to teach stuff that I've implemented live, okay? That way it just feels weird going back on hindsight moves and saying, oh, look at this. Here's what this was. Instead, it's going to be a lot more highly effective for you guys if not only I teach you in the charts after the fact, but also how we actually implement it live time, like for real. Live time, there's no hindsight, there's no bar replay. Real time execution is all that's going to matter in the end. I can give you all the information, but if you don't know how to implement it live, it's going to be very, very, tough for you. So this right here is the dashboard for TradeZella. As you guys know, I literally just purchased this last week. So I did take trades in the beginning of the month, which there's some pretty good trades, honestly. But this is the data I have for now. We're going to keep it rolling. As you can see, it's nothing flashy or fancy, but, high quality surgical strikes in the market, gradually increasing my equity, and I'm going to risk more each trade. So you're going to see higher P&Ls, as this calendar goes on. And that's about it. So that said, what we're going to be talking about in this video is obviousness meeting obviousness. And you're probably like, what the hell is he talking about here? This is exactly what every single A-plus high quality trade in the market that I look to assertively trade on is surrounded by. Obviousness meeting obviousness. When this is a phenomenon, I know it's time to get aggressive. I can get on there and I can confidently use all of my accounts, all of my funded accounts, my live account, all on the same trade, get aggressive with it, make it count. So we're going to be covering this for sure because this is very powerful, but we're also going to be covering a risk management tip that I utilize here today to actually milk out a little bit more profits on all my accounts. So with that said, first of all, we have to talk about this 930 large jump. Okay, I have zero business trying to predict what we're going to do at 930 opening. To me, in my opinion, 930 opening, trying to trade it is gambling. A lot of people do disagree with me, but I like to utilize high volatile moves at 930 to my advantage, and that's exactly what we did here today. So instead of chasing this huge down move, right, and FOMOing in, there's a lot better of a way to attack this market here. If your model does not perform to the downside like it didn't for me, there's no way for me to get in sync except just watch it. I'm watching how it actually delivers to the downside. Like, is it driving down, creating highs, and then running up above those highs, right? Like here, and then continuing lower? Or is it driving down with force, creating a lower high, lower high, lower high, etc., inside of the market? Well, if we take a deeper dive here, you can clearly see we were creating continuous lower high build up inside of the market, and specifically this triple top right here, which just so happened to be the actual Model 3 target. So this is the first stage of obviousness in the form of clean, easy to see stacked highs. So not only did we have a trend line phenomenon here with these continuous lower highs, but we drove down and generated a really smooth, easy, obvious triple top in the market. So that's the first stage. It doesn't mean anything in and of itself if we just have a double top. I need a model to actually counter and attack this, okay? And that's when the obviousness with the stacked highs has to meet the other side of obviousness, which I'm about to show you right now. This is what I like to call the light bulb expansion, okay? When the timing element is there, when we're below that opening price, and we get this type of expansion, creating a minimum of 2 fair value gaps in the direction of the obvious stacked highs, this is the exact moment where literal light bulbs are flickering in my mind, as it should for you if you have enough reps with this model. And this is the exact moment when obviousness is quite literally meeting obviousness. So today will just so happen to be a really, really easy version of it. This is undeniable A plus opportunity in the market. If you can take a look, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fair value gaps being created, 5 gaps in price in the direction with great volume of these obvious stacked highs. Obvious stacked highs being met with a obvious light bulb, like standing out to you undeniably, expansion. So when I get a post hourly candle expansion like that in the direction of the highs, now it's time to, okay, how do I enter? Do I have to wait for a certain gap to be delivered? The answer is absolutely no, right? I'm going to take my long position as soon as we tap into the top gap, okay? Because I don't know if it's going to retrace to the other ones. Today, as you can see, it just tapped into the very upper one and never gave these lower ones the time of day. So that's the one thing you can't ever predict, even in an A plus setup. You can't predict if it's going to leave the rest of the gaps open and then keep on higher. Today, of course, it did, which is great. But nonetheless, the stop placement was below this specific candle here, the low of it, okay, because this was the candle that created the first gap. So it was the correct stop placement. And as you can see, that came in at 100 points. So all I did was just accommodate my risk for that 100-point stop loss, and then 200 points was the target. So now I want to show you guys to end out this video. Again, please don't overcomplicate it, okay? I want to give you guys bits and pieces at each moment, okay? And I want you guys to focus on this right here specifically, okay? What I want to add in here is you're going to look at my executions, and maybe it doesn't look like your traditional stuff, right? Because of all this going on. Here's the deal. So this right here was the bulk of my actual position, right? I entered in 5 contracts, added in 3 here, added in 2 more. Right, because that was my textbook A plus entry that I love to see every time, right? I'm taking that every single time, no questions asked, okay? Then you fast forward, we're trading sideways, 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 and then we blast higher, right? And live time, I said that this was my break-even point. You can watch the live stream recording to see that commentary. As soon as we hit the break-even point, right, and I move my stop loss up here from the bulk position, right? My stop loss is literally cut to almost nothing now, right? So my risk is severely cut on the bulk position. So when that's the case, boom, I'm really highly convicted in this target here because I have so much data to back it, right? I've traded it so many times, and we're getting really good momentum in the direction of that draw. Therefore, I want to milk it out a little bit more. So here's what I did. I added 2 more contracts here once we got another set of obviousness towards the obvious highs, right? Obvious meaning obvious. Here was another example of that. If I can move my execution quick. Here it was. We had another set of multiple gaps in the direction of the Model 3 target. Once I got that, there you go. That's where I'm going to actually add into the position. I added 2 more there. And here is when the risk management stuff comes into play, okay? When you get more comfortable with this model, you're going to be able to milk it out a lot more like this, okay? So I add 2 more, right? I sold 1 contract here just for inner peace at around 80 or so points from the bulk position. All right, cool. Added 2 more. That gave me about an extra 50 or so points. And then obviously took all my profits just at that Model 3 target high, okay? So what this did right here, right, when I add in on that second set of gaps that formed, what's going on is the risk isn't really that elevated, right? Because my bulk position was 5 contracts, and majority of that risk is now off the table because of this rally and me moving, being able to drag my stop loss and cut it in half. So when I'm adding these contracts, it's not like I'm adding a crazy amount of risk on the table. So I'm going to be able to comfortably milk that out, not only because of the confidence in the target, but also the bulk position risk is cut, right? So by me simply doing this, I was able to add on another $300 or so onto this trade, right? So in the future, this isn't required, but, once you get more comfortable with this model and you get a lot more live reps with me trading it, right? This is the type of stuff you can branch into and milk out more profits on the trade and make it count more to, kind of satisfy your appetite, right? Another great way to do that is copy trading. So, You know, when I take these account, trades in my live account, taking the same one on my funded account. So it really eliminates any type of future FOMO, like, oh, if I would have held on, whatever the case may be. I'm making it count and being assertive relative to what I have, right? Being assertive on the live account, taking it on multiple funded. So that way I don't really have an appetite afterwards. So yeah, that'll about do it for this video here, guys. I hope you guys got something out of this. In the future, when you're watching live price, if you're ever feeling stressed out, if it's not obvious real time, right, something you can target that's obvious, an obvious displacement, you probably don't want to be trading it, okay? So waiting for obviousness to meet obviousness is going to be your bread and butter consistently, okay?